Hey, we're Halftone Gaming. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Mike. We're the co-creators of Blood Dome 99.
And we're going to talk about some of our favorite Steam Next Fest demos this year.
StarVaders is a deck builder roguelite with this kind of like strategic grid-based combat. So you have cards that are both attack cards and movement cards. You play the movement cards to move your mech around, get it in an optimal position, and then play attack cards to attack and destroy these like enemies that are incoming. It kind of has this like wave-based element where each turn enemies are getting closer to you and you're trying to defeat them before they get to your base and deal damage to you, essentially. It actually felt a bit like Slay the Spire to me, is probably the closest comparison I could draw. It had a really nice sense of kind of using your cards in this strategic way and having these builds where different cards kind of like really feed into like a nice synergy. But again, with this like additional complexity of you're kind of on this grid-based system and actually moving around a character. Dot defense. It almost feels like if Advance Wars was made in like an alternate reality where it was a real-time game instead of a turn-based game. There's a lot of design that's very similar in terms of how things look. And then there's a lot of these like elements of gameplay that you can see from Advance Wars in this, but it's actually not the same genre as Advance Wars. You're kind of like strategizing to take a territory and then hold it. And then you have certain resources that grants you that then you can use to kind of take another territory. You can't Zerg rush, you know? There's no such thing as just like, oh, I'm just gonna like do a bunch of stuff, build really quickly, create a huge army, and then overrun everything. You're kind of forced to do this like strategic, measured pacing of taking one base at a time. And I will also say, this is like a little bit of a nerdy thing to care about, but I do as a game designer. The way that they do sort of the onboarding or the tutorial in the demo, I thought was very good. It's very kind of hand-holdy, and it's a kind of complex game with a bunch of different systems, and it really gives them to you in a manageable, approachable way. So you kind of, you never really feel like it's complex until you get to the point where suddenly you're like, wow, I'm doing a bunch of different stuff and I know what all of these things do and I know how they interact. And it just kind of feels natural at that point by the time you get there. Kings of Hell. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. It's, you know, some real gay furry stuff going on here.
Oh, real gay furry stuff going on.
Yeah, everybody's anthropomorphic animals with like thongs with big old bulges in them. You don't have to be into that to enjoy this game, but it would probably help. If you're not into it, you still might like the game because it's still a good game. I thought the voice acting was great. It was fun. The characters had kind of like a little bit of like, you know, a fanficky element to the way that they talked. The art style is cool. The gameplay is fun. It's very beat 'em up-y.
Similar to Smash Brothers, but not constrained to a 2D plane, which is Power Stone. You have a sort of full 3D movement within like a contained ring.
Yep.
Right? And each stage is a different type of ring, basically. Sometimes we're on like a skateboard or something going on a highway, or we were like on top of a bus driving around, and we had full movement and fighting on top of that. So it's sort of like a Saturday morning cartoon kind of vibe going on.
Yeah, with a lot more gay furries.
With a lot more gay furries.
Yeah. So Trip.
Yeah,
overall, it was a very short demo. It's very simple. You just walk through and you just talk to people. And, you know, the one like puzzle, if you could call it that, is just looking in a mirror and clicking on something.
Spoilers.
And but I really liked it. The presentation was really cool and really interesting. It definitely made me interested to check out the full thing.
Yeah, I want to see where they go with it.
Yeah.
The stuff at the end was very interesting, and I would say well designed and very artful. It's essentially dream-like. It's like playing a dream.
Yeah. It's almost like you're tripping.
Whoa.
Double entendre there. It's a trip and you also trip.
I don't get it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
Hark the Ghoul.
All right. This demo fucking slapped. The atmosphere in it was really good. It captures like a feeling of kind of atmosphere and world that honestly I'd compare the feeling a little bit to like Dark Souls or like Hollow Knight in terms of like that quality of like feeling drenched in the atmosphere. The initial area in the demo feels very linear. You're just kind of going through it and doing some simple stuff, but then it opens up into an area, and this is around where I had to stop playing, so I didn't get to explore it a huge amount. But once you get past that opening area, it seems like it really opens up, and there's a lot of different paths you can take, and it has that similar kind of Dark Souls feel of you're just, you know, or again, Hollow Knight feel as well, of like, you don't necessarily know what the right way to go is. Maybe there isn't a right way to go. You're just kind of thrown into this very atmospheric world that's kind of like has this lonely and somewhat threatening feel to it. I just really like the atmosphere in this game. I thought they did a fantastic job. The Sultan's game, the game is presented as this kind of simple card game like thing where you kind of go into events and you have to play different cards for the event. So you can like put down a person and an action and like an item basically. But then the way it actually plays out, it's not like Magic the Gathering. It's not like your cards have like stats and they like battle other cards. They do have stats. There is an RPG element too, but it's a little bit more like you have this like story that you're controlling by putting these cards down. So like putting a card down isn't just, oh, I play this guy because he has a good attack strength. It's like your cards are actually people and they have kind of stories to them. There's a moralistic element to it where sometimes you have choices that are very much moral choices. You're kind of in general trying to satisfy the kind of whims of this game, the Sultan's game that you're playing, which can involve killing people, it can involve having sex with people, it can involve conquering cities. So you're kind of like arbitrarily supposed to do these tasks, which are a little bit morally questionable. And it's your job to figure out how you want to do them by kind of combining these cards in events in different ways. Tavern Keeper. We both played this one.
We both played this separately though.
Yeah, why don't you tell me what you think about it? I haven't heard your thoughts on it.
In Dungeons and Dragons, the most common way to start is in a tavern. And in this, you're essentially managing the tavern where the Dungeons and Dragons players would come in and stuff like that. And there are certain story elements, and there's like an English narrator, and
Yeah, I agree. I found it very charming. I thought the writing was very charming. I thought the kind of characters, and it had a very like wholesome kind of element to it.
I sent it over to my friend who does play more management games, and I'm gonna read off what he sent me. He said, this is Dan, by the way, good old Danny B. He said, it's a breezy management style game. You have options to make it easier or more difficult on yourself, depending on what you like. It's complex, but the demo is a nice tutorial to help you. Plus, the narrator belittles your choices sometimes. It's cute, it's fun, you can change the speed, there's a nice art style and graphics. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our thoughts on these hidden gems. If you're interested in any of the games, there's links in the description. Try the demos and give them a wish list. Wish lists really help small developers get visibility in the Steam algorithm. This next fest featured over 3,000 demos, so if there's any games you think we missed, let us know in the comments and we'll do our best to check them out. We will be releasing another video later this week ranking our top 10 demos of the fest, so if you're interested in getting notified, make sure you subscribe. We would also love it if you take a look at our game, Blood Dome 99. There's a free demo and the game is currently available in early access. We're hoping to release our massive 1.0 update later this year. Finally, this video is edited from a longer conversation in which we discuss all of the 27 Next Fest demos we played. If you're interested in hearing the full 2-hour conversation, you can get it on our Patreon, link in the description.